Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Saints are hitting the road, take on the Chargers. Be a Sunday afternoon game. That old 3:15 kickoff playing out on the West Coast. Jim Harbaugh met with reporters on Wednesday before the Saints head out there. And the what's been really interesting about this Chargers team is they've been so good defensively. They're literally the best team, best scoring defense in the NFL. Offensively, they've been stuck in the mud just a little bit. And Jim Harbaugh was asked about kind of getting going offensively after the Monday Night Football loss at Arizona.
On one hand, you could read off of we'll be singing with the choir of woulda, coulda, shouldas, and reasonably so. Right there. Then there's the hymn where there was plays made. Guys, I thought the offensive line, for example, I thought they played good. There was maybe a missed block here, missed block there. I thought the quarterback played great. Will Dissly, his best game, and you can just see the feel that he has for football and getting yards after the catch and, things to build on. Yeah, the quarterback played great.
So the quarterback, by the way, of course, is Justin Herbert, who was asked about the Saints because this is a challenge for L.A., and I don't want to make this about the Chargers. For our perspective, it's more about the Saints. But when you look at the Chargers, they're 3-3. They've beaten the bad teams, and they've lost to the good teams, with the exception being, of course, the game against Arizona. Probably a game that they should have won, albeit on the road. But this is a game with the New Orleans Saints coming in with a backup quarterback and on a 5-game skid that the Chargers should win. I mean, they're a 6.5-point favorite. You don't see touchdown favorites in the NFL very often, but here you have it, even with a 3-3 Chargers team because of where the Saints are, even though the Saints are getting healthy. But Justin Herbert talked about having respect for the Saints despite this losing streak.
We think about those games early on where they took it to their opponents. They're much better than their record indicates. We got a lot of respect for their defense, especially their offense as well. They've got some guys on the back half that are really able to make some plays. I know they've had a few injuries, but the guys that have stepped up have made big plays as well. So you got to be aware of a couple guys on that field, especially where they are. But we got a healthy respect for them, for sure.
I don't know how you can say they're better than their record, because the reality is the Saints are dead last in the NFL in defense right now. And that game against the Eagles where you lost 15-12, which is just mind-boggling that you still had that game in hand and lost it. And then you lost to the Falcons where you didn't allow an offensive touchdown. Since then, the last 3 games have just been a total abomination. Losing 26-13 on Monday Night Football against the Chiefs where you weren't competitive. You came home against Tampa and got blown out 51-27. You got in a 17-0 hole. You dug out of it, then got absolutely walloped after that. And then you were never competitive last week against Denver. So we got 3 games, Carolina, Dallas, Philly, where you were good. And maybe even a half against Atlanta. And then I got 3 games and a half against Atlanta where you were miserable. You were wretched and rotten. So which are you? We've seen both. And you cannot blame the defensive struggles on injuries. You can't do it. Offensively, I get it. And that's why I'm like, I get it. No quarterback, losing 3 offensive linemen, your top 2 receivers, Taysom Hill. I get it. Like, they're not going to be good offensively. I totally understand that. They should be better now as they get healthier. But defensively, that's the bigger question for me. And this is one of those games where I think it's that pendulum swinging game where you prove what you are defensively. Are you more the team that was really good the first 3 weeks, or are you the team that's been pretty miserable and literally the worst team the last 3 weeks? You're going up against a Chargers team offensively that is really struggling to find itself. They're 24th in passing yards. They're right in the middle of the NFL, 18th in rushing yards. They're 26th in scoring offense. They only score 17 a game. This is a Chargers offense that has not been very good. So what are you defensively? What are you defensively? For everyone who's saying about this defense, and even DeMario Davis said it, to anyone who say they're not trying or they've quit, not giving effort, he disagreed with that. I don't know, man. I can watch an embarrassing effort late in the game against Tampa Bay and against Denver as well, where you don't want to tackle a soul. I can look at 15 missed tackles in a game and go, that doesn't look like effort to me. You got a chance to turn it around. Chargers are on a short week after Monday Night Football. You're coming off your mini bye. We got 10 days after playing on Thursday. A chance to catch your breath, reset, and you're getting a little healthier. Colin Saunders is back, and also Pete Werner's back. But the point that I made about you got no excuse on defense is all those guys, all of your studs defensively that were there at the beginning of the season when you were playing well defensively are still there. You've still got DeMario Davis. You've still got Carl Granderson and Chase Young and Brian Brzee and Alante Taylor and Marshawn Lattimore and Tyrann Mathieu. Like, all those guys are still there. You can't tell me you go from being a top 5 defense in the NFL to literally dead last because Colin Saunders missed a couple of games or Pete Werner missed a couple of games. It doesn't gel. It doesn't jive. There's something else going on there. And that's when you start to look at the intangibles. You start to look at coaching. You start to look at effort. You look at all those things. This will be very telling. If you're actually the defense that we saw the first 3 weeks, then you should be able to show it against an offense in LA that has really struggled this year. So let's see. Which are you? We're still waiting on Thursday's injury report, the official injury report, although our guy Ross Jackson from LouisianaSports.net was out at practice today. And in the media viewing period, 4 players were absent. Derek Carr, no surprise there. Nick Saldivari, no surprise there. But also Cedric Wilson and Kendall Vickers were absent. Wilson is battling a hip injury. Vickers, the practice squad defensive lineman, his absence was unknown. But getting Colin Saunders back really mutes that. Vickers wouldn't be active on game day anyway. Wilson is significant, I would say. Wilson had the touchdown reception from Jake Haener on Thursday Night Football. And with no Rashid Shaheed, of course, you're bringing in Marquez Valdez-Scantling. You should get Chris Olave back, but Olave, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Cedric Wilson, you'd certainly love to have him out there. So we'll see if he's able to go with that hip injury. But Vickers and Wilson are the 2 new additions. But other than that, you're getting healthier offensively. You should have Cesar Ruiz back this week. You should have Lucas Patrick back this week. You should have Taysom Hill back. You should have Chris Olave back. So you're getting healthier offensively, and you should be more competent. I'm not saying you're going to be good because you're going against the best scoring defense in the NFL. I don't even know that this lends you to winning the football game because even with all those weapons, without your starting center and without your starting quarterback, it's hard to imagine you're going to go on the road and upset when you're a touchdown underdog, the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. But what could give you a chance to do that is if your defense actually shows up with some pride, with some heart, and plays like it did the first 3 weeks. Because if you do that, you'll be in the game and you might even have a chance to win. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.